Hello and welcome to my channel. Ooh, my chair. It makes a lot of noise. Anyway, I hope you can overlook that. It's kind of distracting. It's one of those chairs that you call it a rush back, I think is what it's called. So it's fiber, so it makes noise. Anyway, let's get started. My name is Sherry and I go by Ladyfish Loot on YouTube, Facebook, and eBay. And today's video is going to be the items I sold for the month of December. I had a total of 25 sales, basically a sale a day up until Christmas. I was very happy with that. And we'll get started. But before we do, I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. And I hope you had a wonderful holiday season. I don't know if you make resolutions, but I made a few this year. I really don't call them resolutions anymore. I call them goals because that just seems easier to attain. I never ever lived up to my resolutions. So I have a few goals, one of which being I can share with you because some are personal, as we all have. But, lose the 10 pounds, always a big one. But one of my biggest goals for this year is to empty out my storage unit and get rid of all of my inventory that is not listed. So that's part of my journey. I have some videos, if you haven't watched them, of me going through I call it my death pile at my storage unit, and I go through bins and I unbox a bin, every time I listed the other bin. Excuse me. So I'm on bin number 3 right now. I have it ready to go. I've listed 3 items from that bin. I'm a slow lister. I take things at my leisure. I just do things on my schedule and my time. So I'm going to have to speed it up though if I really want to hit my goal of listing all my inventory by the end of the year. I currently have 343 listings. I still have the goal of having 500 listings someday in my store. So hopefully I'll attain that this year as well. That was another goal. All right, let's go ahead and get started. The first item I sold is a Universal Studios Silver Snow Globe. I'm not going to go, my past videos, I would read out the whole title, and I'm sure that was super boring to you guys to watch. So I'm just going to give you the highlights of the keywords, and of course, put the picture up there, and I think that's all you really need. So I paid $4.49 for this snow globe. It was listed for $49.99. The buyer offered $40, and they were all in for $56.17. So my total profit on this item was $33.81. The next item is a Disney Parks Haunted Mansion wallpaper print long sleeve shirt. So it was a ladies' shirt. I paid $2.10 for this at an auction. I've mentioned this in some videos in the past. I went to a fabulous Disney estate. It wasn't an auction, excuse me. It was an estate sale, and this lady had a humongous house, and it was filled with Disney stuff. She was a big, big, big collector. So I ended up getting 220 items that day, and I got 105 items, and I spent $220, and when you dollar cost average, I paid $2.10 each. So this shirt was $2.10. It was listed for $29.99. The buyer offered $22, and I took it because this has been listed for close to a year. So I'm ready to move merchandise. I'm not running a museum here. I want to start getting rid of my merchandise. I used to be kind of stubborn about it. Like I wanted top dollar. It was just a flaw I guess I had. And so I have let some pretty decent offers go because I wasn't willing to sell them for that amount. And I can realize now that I have made mistakes by not accepting those offers. Because a lot of times it was the only offer I received on an item and it still sits in my store. Or there's a big one that's going on right now. I have a vintage t-shirt that I have had listed for almost 6 years. I mean, it's a nice t-shirt. It is from the 80s. It is a band t-shirt. And I had it listed for $399.99. And I had somebody offer me $275. And oh no, excuse me. This goes way back. Okay, when I first got it, I had it listed for almost $500, and I had somebody come in at $375, and I didn't take that offer, and that was a mistake because I've now had this shirt listed for going on 6 years. I have now reduced the price down to $299.99. And I did that because, again, I just want to get rid of my stuff. I don't want to have a lot of listings as I go into deeper into my retirement and just basically do eBay when I feel like it. That's not where I'm at right now. I feel like I want to do it every single day because I love it and I want to get through my death pile. But there's going to come a time where I'm going to have other interests because I already feel that at almost 66 years old, I'm getting other interests and eBay is not on the top like it used to be. Like it used to be here. It's all I thought about, all I wanted to do. I love being a reseller. I'll always love being a reseller. But oh, there I went again. Sometimes I go on these tangents and I just talk and, I guess it's just a little insight into me and it's just a way to get to know me better. That's the way I'm going to look at it. So anyway, back to this. Anyway, $2.10 I paid for this shirt. Buyer offered $22. She was all in for $33.99. I had a total profit on this item of $15.86. The next item, I was happy to get rid of this t-shirt as well. I had it listed for almost 4 years. It is a vintage Canton McKinley Bulldogs Massillon Tigers Obi football rivalry t-shirt. And I told you all those keywords because that is what the t-shirt's about. It's a cute football rivalry of high school teams in Ohio. So it finally found a buyer. I paid $1.92 for it. I had it listed for $29.99. I was running a 20% off sale in my store for the month of December, so that brought it down to $23.99. The buyer offered $20. I took it. He was all in for $26.99, and I made a total profit of $15.53 on that item. Next item I sold is a Sam Hogue White as Snow Ribbon Glass Marble. I got this marble in, I think, 7 other ones at an auction. And it's the artist's name is Sammy Hogue. He's now in his 80s. He lives, I think, in West Virginia, and he does just beautiful works of art with marbles. They're gorgeous. This one was the most plain of the ones that I have. If I didn't mention, I think I've sold 4 already, and I think I have 4 left. So, but it was beautiful in its own way. It was just white ribbons, but I don't know, when you looked into it, it just had almost this, it drew you in like a 3D effect. It was really pretty. Anyway, I paid $20 for this marble. It was, I had it listed for $79.99. With the sale, it was on sale for $63.99. Buyer offered $55, and I took it. So he was all in for $66.84, and I made a total profit of $28.46. Next is a Stranger Things 11 action figure, and it's from McFarlane Toys. I got this at an auction. I paid $9.62 for it. It was never removed from package, so it had the original string still attached to it. So I had it listed for $39.99. 20% off, it brought it down to $31.99. That is what the buyer paid, and they were all in for $44.50. I made a total profit of $19.48. Next item is an Aurifers crystal glass triangle bowl or dish. I paid $3 for this at, this is just a thrift store pickup. Never mind. I've prefaced all of my videos by saying I typically buy at thrift stores, but if it's other than a thrift store, I will let you know. I paid $3 for this item. I had it listed for $49.99. It was on sale for $39.99. Buyer offered $34. Of course, I took it. They were all in for $50.87, and I made a total profit of $28.55. Next item is, I'm going to butcher this name. I think it's Jan Barboglio. So Jan Barboglio House Blessing Cross with Nail in a trinket box. This is something I purchased for $6.49. It was listed for $99.99. It sold for the sale price of $79.99. The buyer was all in for $98.53, and I had a total profit of $63.85. Next item, Puffy Heart Covered Trinket Box. I almost didn't list this item. I picked it up at a thrift store that benefited animals, which I love going to that thrift store. You'll sometimes pay a little more for their items, but it helps the animals. I think it goes to the Humane Center, and it goes to other places in my community that help animals, no-kill shelters, etc. So I picked it up because it was pretty. It was porcelain. It was a heart. It was a trinket box. It had all the things I look for that have a buyer. Different reasons for a person to buy this item. But it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of plain. But I listed it, and it sold. So yay, woohoo! I paid 79 cents for it. I had it listed for $29.99. With my sale, the buyer bought it for $23.99. They were all in for $34.30, and I made a total profit of $20.26. This next 3 items were bought by the same person, so I combined shipping, and of course refunded her a large portion of her shipping back, because if she purchased every one of these individually and paid the shipping. And shipping on these were $10 each, because they're heavier. They're made of really heavy resin. And so $30 in shipping, and she didn't even ask for a refund, but of course you're going to refund somebody. Don't ever take advantage of people like that. If you're a reseller, always refund them some of that money. There's no sense in keeping it. So the first item is a vintage Anthony Costanza Santa Christmas is for Sharing folk art figurine. And this was made by Enesco. You know how I love Enesco and why I love Enesco. But this was originally listed for $49.99, and 20% off, she did the 20% off, was $39.99. She was all in for $46.68 on this particular item. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what they were all in and what my total profit was for the 3. I think that'll just make more sense for you. Okay, so that was the first one, and honestly, that had been listed for 3 years. So these were all things that I had in my store for a long time, and I was really glad to get rid of them. The next one was also a vintage Anthony Costanza Santa Claus. This one was Through the Woods. That's the title of it, and it was a folk art figurine. It looked folk art. The other one, I think I told you, the name of it was Christmas is for Sharing. It was really cute. It had to do with animals. Anyhow, this one was listed for $29.99. The buyer purchased it for $23.99. And then the last one that was also listed for 3 years, over 3 years. This other one was listed almost for 3 years. 3.5 years. This is a vintage folk art primitive Santa Claus tree figurine, and by the artist Doris C. Williams. That is how she signed the bottom. That is how it was signed on the bottom, Doris C. Williams. Again, I was asking $29.99 for this item, and my buyer bought it for $23.99, and I paid 99 cents for this. If I didn't tell you what I paid for the other 2 Santas, I paid $6 each for them. So my customer was all in for $108.04. My total profit was $65.98, and my cost of goods on all 3 was $12.99. All right, next one is a Disney Precious Moments Sleeping Beauty figurine, and the title of it is Dreams Really Do Come True. This one was listed for $79.99. The buyer bought it on sale for $63.99. She was all in for $79.90, and my total profit on this figurine was $54.79. Next item is a contemporary sulfide puppy dog figure glass marble. Now, Sammy Hogue, you saw me do the other marble earlier in this video of the white one that I sold. Sammy Hogue, this was part of my Sammy Hogue pickup that I did at the auction, but I could not attribute this to him because it wasn't signed. Now, he makes things identical to this, but I couldn't put his name on it, so I had to ask a lot less for it. So I asked $49.99 for it, and the buyer paid $39.99, which of course the sale price, that was the sale price. They were all in for $50.50, and the total profit on this marble was $14.34. If I didn't mention, I paid $20 for it. Because when I bought it online, I thought it was a Sammy Hogue. And when I went to pick up my auction pickup, it wasn't signed. So, yeah, win some, you lose some. Next item, there's two. These two angels went to the same buyer. Again, she got a little bit of a refund on her shipping. And I'll give you the all-in and the total profit when I get to the end of these two items. First one is an Henri Torriart Angel Cherub accordion figurine. I paid $1.82. You know what? I want to know. I'm sorry, I don't have this amount. Okay. I paid $3.64 for both of these angels. That's my total cost of goods for these two. Since I'm combining everything for you, they were $1.82 each. So $3.64 for the two is what I paid for them. Oh, I'm jumping ahead of myself. The second one is an Henri Torriart Angel Cherub Violin figurine. All right, so all in for these two figurines was $62.21, and my total profit was $40.70. Next item is an Enesco Rudolph Santa Sleigh Bells figurine, the Island of Misfit Toys. This was my one and only complaint for the year. They wanted to return it. I didn't accept the return. I just refunded him his money. And the reason being is he complained that it smelled of smoke. Now, that certainly can happen. This one I actually bought at a thrift store. I don't know their history. I don't know where they came from. I personally didn't smell smoke, and I'm pretty sensitive to it because I've never been a smoker. But listen, I can't argue with them. I could have had him send it back, but I just didn't want to put him through the hassle. I didn't want to put me through the hassle. It was a total refund of $31 and some odd cents. Yeah, I think $33.42 was the refund. It was worth it to me just get it off my plate. But anyway, he came in kind of hot, and if you're a reseller and you have a customer that's unhappy, you get, and I would tell you as a buyer, you get much further if you're kind, or at the very least professional. This guy came in so hot with me on this. He goes, this was his message to me. I want my money back. This reeks of smoke. You must be a heavy smoker. Okay, never smoked a day in my life, so that's not the case. But at first, I was like, you know what? I don't accept returns. I'm not taking this back. And if you want to return it, you're going to return it on your own dime. That was my first reaction just because of how he presented himself. But, I sat down and I thought about it for a minute. And I'm like, you know what? I need to keep this professional, and I need to be the bigger person on this. And so I just said, hey, look, man, I don't want you to have anything you're not happy with. Here's your money back. And as soon as I gave him his money back, of course, he started being very kind and very, very thankful and gave me a history of why he bought this item. And it all turned out good. And he left me good feedback. So it was a win-win for both of us. So again, I would never, ever want a customer to be something they're unhappy with. If they're that unhappy, they can return it to me. I prefer it's on their own dime. But if you're a reseller, if the item is not as described, that buyer can circumvent my whole return policy, go straight to an eBay, and they will refund their money. That's just the bottom line. So I never want to get eBay involved in my affairs. I want to take care of it myself. So that's one of the reasons I refunded him his money again. But the biggest reason, I don't want anybody unhappy with the items I sell to them. Next item is a Loudmouth large polka dot golf short, men's size 36. I paid $5.19 for these shorts. They were on sale for $23.99 in my store. They were originally listed $29.99. The buyer gave me a best offer of $30. I took it. He was all in for $28.88, and my total profit on these shorts were $11.87. They were super fun. I remember seeing them at I told you how much I paid. I remember seeing them. I got them at a Salvation Army in Phoenix, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are so fun. And then I saw they were Loudmouth, and I'm like, that's always a good brand to pick up. And if I remember correctly, I think John Daly, the golfer John Daly, who was was truly one of my favorites back in the 90s, I think that was his brand. if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he was a fun guy. He was a fun guy to watch. Next item I sold was a Waterford 2018 mini Christmas tree with star holiday ornament. I paid 99 cents for this item. It was on sale for $23.99. The buyer offered $20, and of course I accepted. They were all in for $29.53, and my total profit on that ornament was $17.91. Next item, a Department 56 large. That's another brand. If you're a reseller, look for Department 56, especially if it's retired pieces, older pieces. The Halloween pieces do very well. But that's always a brand to look out for. It's a good name, just like Enesco. It was one of the higher giftware brands back in the day, and I even exist today. But I remember when I worked at Enesco, Department 56 was probably my biggest competitor in terms of dollars from my buyers. So this is a Department 56 large crescent moon face ornament in amber. It was frosted mercury glass, and it was blown glass. It was really, really cool. I had it listed for $69.99. I paid $15 for this item, and again, I paid more for it because this particular thrift store in Phoenix benefited our veterans. So I was more than happy to pay up for an item there. So $15 I paid for this ornament. I was asking $69.99. The buyer and I went back and forth, and we finally settled on $53. So she was all in for $67.64, and I had a total profit of $31.19. Next item was a Fenton glass, blue cabbage rose pedestal compote bowl or dish, candy dish. I paid $2 for this item. It was listed for $19.99. The buyer purchased it for $15.99 and was all in for $27.80. And my total profit on that item was $12.26. Next item is a Schleich Sioux Chief on Horse figurine. This was part of a bag. If you've watched my past video, one of my bin hauls, unboxings, I mean. It was a bag I bought of all these Schleich horses and such, and it was, there were some really good pieces in there. This was my best sale so far from that bag. I paid 99 cents for this item because the bag I think was $3.49 or something, but after I dollar cost average everything, this is the price I came up with. So 99 cents for this item. I had it listed for $27.99. That is what the buyer paid. They were all in for $38.50, and my total profit was $23.99. This seems a bit odd to me. I must not have been running my sale at this time. I don't know when I sold it, but I must not have had it on sale because he paid full price. Next item I sold, oh, that's right, because right before Christmas, I closed my store because I was leaving to go to my sister's house, hi Kim, for the holidays, and I took everything off of sale. I took away the best offers, the best offer button for my buyers, and I just let my store stay open, but with a later ship date. You can do a time away on eBay, and then they will let you, if you want to pause sales, you can, but if you want people to continue to buy from you, they automatically update the number of days you're away so that you don't get a ding, a strike for late shipping. So I set my store up for time away for like 5 days, and so eBay automatically adjusted my shipping time, and this probably sold during the course of that time, the Schleich horse and this particular item, because this one was not on sale either. She paid full price. Whew, that was a whole lot of talking. Anyway, it was a 1995 Hallmark Glinda Good Witch of the North Wizard of Oz ornament. I paid $1.99 for this ornament. The buyer purchased it for $19.99. They were all in for $30.08, and I had a total profit of $15.91. Next item is a new Cool, K-U-H-L, Cool Lucia sweater dress in extra large. I paid $2.14 for this dress. It was listed for $49.99. The buyer gave me a best offer of $40. I took it. She was all in for $49.99. and I had a total profit of $34.37. The backstory on that dress is I went to a brick and mortar store. They were running a sale, fill a bag for $30, and they had all the best names for like hiking gear, outdoor gear. So I filled a bag. I had I can't remember how many items, but it all dollar cost averaged out to the $2.14. So that's how I came up with that, and that's how they all ended up being new with tags. I wish they would do another one of those. They didn't do it this year. Man, I really hope they do it again next year. It was so fun. The next item I sold was a Blue Sky 2002 Spring Sunshine Angel Wall Plaque. I paid $3 for this item at an auction in Phoenix. It was part of a big auction lot. And the buyer, I had it listed for $17.99. The buyer gave me a best offer of $13. She's all in for $21.88 and a total profit of $9.17 on that angel. Last item, how many minutes? 25. Okay, last item. I'm trying not to go any further than 30 minutes on my videos now. Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame movie promo t-shirt. This was part of that Disney estate sale, so $2.10 I paid for the t-shirt. I had it listed for $49.99. The buyer offered me $35 and I took it because this has also been listed for almost a year, so it's time to get rid of it. It went to Japan, and I don't have the total amount they paid because they have to add international charges, so I don't have that amount, and I know it was probably, well, let me just tell you, total cost to me was $41.99. That is what eBay charged me for my final value fees. But I guarantee, because this went to Japan, that this lady probably paid upwards of $60 for this t-shirt. So I think that's really cool that they would pay that much for something like that. They wanted it that badly. So glad I had it for her. Anyway, she paid $35, all in $41.99, total profit $27.29. Okay, so I had a total of 25 sales. They totaled $1,047.71. My selling costs were $309.95, and the way I came up with that is my final value fees were $142.55. My shipping was $145.45, and my store fee was $21.95. So you minus out the selling cost, you minus out the sales tax, which was $60.05. You minus out my cost of goods, which was $124.13. And my net is $553.58, which equates to $131.80 a week. And my average selling price per item was $39.51. I always try to keep it around 40 to 50, so it's a little shy of that, but I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that amount. All right, that's the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching, and I want to thank you for spending this time with me today, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.